The sorcerers of Kagurabachi come in all shapes and sizes, with some of them being complete bums and the others being incredibly strong. So today, let's go over who I think are the 5 strongest sorcerers in Kagurabachi. Just to be clear, this list is only for people who are not currently contracted to Enchanted Blade. So no Chihiro, Hirohiko, Samura, or Yura since he's kind of using the Magatsumi right now. Now, let's get into the list. At number 5, we have Hokuro. Hokuro's recent performance during the Kamunabi raid arc has been absolutely insane. Everyone he's fought mentions his strength. Kiri talks about how strong his non-dominant hand is when he's choking her out. Natsuki and Aruha all mention his ability with the sword while missing an arm and still holding back. And to top it all off, he hasn't used his sorcery once during the entire fight. Moreover, his armor is also really strong. A fully bloodlusted Natsuki who is full throttling his lightning menace and operating with the intent to kill does effectively 0 damage to him because his armor is always able to block it. We've never seen him use the sword with his dominant hand. His clone sorcery mid-fight would probably be really useful, and if the theories about him being sent to kill the Sword Saint are true, that likely means that Yura expects a lot from him. Yes, the Sword Saint hasn't moved for like 18 years and is way out of his prime, but given that his prime was 1v5ing the Enchanted Blade wielders, I don't think we can say that an out-of-prime Sword Saint is weak. What I'm trying to say about Hokuro is that he's an absolute powerhouse. He was quite literally rage-baiting Natsuki and Aruha to get the best fight. We haven't seen him go all out. He's been operating in this fight with just his non-dominant hand and no sorcery, and even after all this, it seems like Aruha and Natsuki haven't been able to make him try his hardest. Unfortunately, unless he gets his hand back, we probably won't get to see him at his absolute best, but he's definitely still up there in strength regardless. At number 4, we have Aruha. Despite all the glazing I just gave to Hokuro, I still think Aruha is stronger, especially given the fact that Aruha wasn't just holding back during the fight, he was just straight up washed. The man's entire nervous system was rewired after losing his eternal contract of 18 years. He was just chilling in a hot spring for most of those 18 years, and even after all this, he's putting up a generational performance during this arc. Even before he began to reawaken his instincts, Aruha's white purity style was fast enough to just perception blitz Hokuro as he was drawing the sword. Afterwards, while he does take damage, he's taken less than Hokuro even though he was fighting for longer, and once he gets his instincts back, he's literally flying around and hitting both Yura and Hokuro with a single slash. And Aruha was doing all of this without sorcery. He's just naturally that fast and strong. In a 1v1 between prime Aruha with sorcery versus a Hokuro who is going all out, I think it would be a high diff fight, but I think Aruha takes it more than not. To start off our top 3, we have Sheba. Sheba is incredibly strong, but his lack of fights really makes it tough to get a definitive read on his strength. We have Yura calling him the pinnacle of sorcery, which, while it is massive glaze, it is also really ambiguous. We know sorcery consists of a lot of things, going from innate sorcery that can help you fight, to more utility-based things like seals and mandalas, so I think it's kind of unclear whether Sheba is the pinnacle of sorcery when it comes to using it for fighting, or if he's just the best at using it in the most diverse and general sense. Either way, it doesn't change the fact that Sheba is absolutely insane. He teleported right into a fight with a toe and won, and only became pressed once Tenri started using the Danseki weapon. This, however, isn't much of an anti-feat when you remember that the Danseki weapon is supposed to amp your spirit energy levels to match that of an enchanted blade. Moreover, the efficacy of the Danseki weapon is directly tied to how strong you are as a sorcerer, meaning any random bum can use it and get a solid strength boost, but when an elite fighter uses it, they become massively stronger and a legitimate enchanted blade level threat. Given that all of the Toe are supposed to be elite fighters, it makes sense that Sheba would begin to get pressed after already cooking them in their fight, only to have one of their guys get a second wind and a massive power boost. Entering into our top 2, we have Azami. Azami, up until the recent chapters, was just a statements man. Sojo thinks he's a level above the anti-Cloud Gouger squad. Azami's nickname is the Executioner. Aruha thinks that it would take a fighter on the level of Azami or Hiyuki to combat the Danseki weapon, which is supposed to be like an enchanted blade. Kudo says that Azami is on another level, and then Ichiki further pushes that statement, saying that when Kudo says that, he meant it on every level. And when Kasen is like, yeah, you guys are gonna lose, it's the power of the Magatsumi, Ichiki still thinks that Azami will stop them. Now, we finally have Azami fighting, and he's absolutely insane. He's going toe-to-toe with partial Magatsumi Yura and actually able to land some solid damage. Even Chihiro and Hiyuki were having some trouble against Kiora when he had partial Magatsumi, and I'd argue that Kiora is way less suited to fighting than Yura. So assuming Yura is stronger than Kiora when they're both using the Magatsumi, it makes Azami's performance even more impressive. His strength is absurd, his sorcery is crazy strong, and even just on a narrative level, it's repeatedly implied that he's pretty much near the top of the Kamunabi in terms of strength. Yes, he needed Aruha and Natsuki to help him set up a situation in which he could land a hit, and even then Azami took massive damage doing so, but I believe that is in part due to the fact that Azami is merely buying time. He's effectively betting on Samura and Chihiro arriving soon, so he's putting it all on the line to deal as much damage as possible to Yura. Even with this mindset, it seems like Azami's got pretty good endurance considering both his arms are broken and he's just taunting Yura. However, there is one person who Azami doesn't top in terms of strength, and that's Hiyuki. Unfortunately, Hiyuki has pretty much had the least screen time out of the people in the top 3. What she does have, though, is a pretty definitive statement that says that she's just the Kamunabi's strongest fighter, and the only one with firepower on the level of the Enchanted Blades. We've never seen her use Flamebone to the max, even when she was going up against Kiora, so I'm sure once we see that happen, we'll understand why she's top 1 of the Kamunabi. Until then, though, I'm pretty much just putting her at number 1 because the story told me to. Now, I do want to dedicate this next portion of the video to discussing a few objections. For one, this unnamed Hishaku member that people are calling Carlos Hishaku was stated by Yura to be the Hishaku's strongest fighter. Since I put Hiyuki at number 1 just off statements alone, it would seem like I should remove Hokuro and put this guy in instead. However, I do think there's some nuance that could be in Yura's statement considering he likes to gamble. It could be that Yura is gambling on this guy becoming the strongest and realizing his potential via Yura giving him an encouragement, and given that he's currently the vessel, it could also impact his fighting ability. Moreover, I'm more comfortable with Hiyuki's statement since we've actually seen her fight. We've seen absolutely nothing from Carlos Hishaku other than him getting blown away by Aruha's kick and now him getting stabbed, so I just don't want him on the list until we see more of him. Next, there's the contention between Sheba, Azami, and Hiyuki. Aruha's statement about needing fighters on the level of Azami or Hiyuki seems to imply that they're relative, and all of the recent glaze for Azami could push him to be the strongest in the eyes of many people. And for Sheba, his whole pinnacle of sorcery statement could really go from him just being really good at using all applications of sorcery to him being just the strongest sorcerer in the entire verse. Hiyuki is stated to be the strongest of the Kamunabi, and Sheba is no longer part of the Kamunabi, so there's the potential for him to be stronger. However, I want to point out his performance against Tenri. When faced with an Enchanted Blade level threat, he was definitely put on the back foot. Yes, it was not just a 1v1, and Sheba was at least a little fatigued from his earlier fight, but I don't think that means that he has the capacity to just fight Enchanted Blade level threats by himself. He's strong, but we know his teleportation has limits that could be sufficiently exploited by an Enchanted Blade level fighter, and Hiyuki is exactly that. All in all, Kagurabachi is still in its relatively early stages, and I have a lot of trouble just power scaling the verse, so if you disagree with my takes, please be sure to tell me why.